It's something I wish I knew a long time ago. You'll never be able to avoid upsetting or disappointing self-centered people, so you might as well do what's right and what's best for you and your family, and have the limits you need to.
Many people think that they're gonna get away with it by using people. You know, some people are so focused on themselves, I don't think that they even recognize that they are using people. And the reason why they don't recognize that they're using people, because in their mind, they're working towards their goals. But when you get so laser focused like that, what ends up happening is you end up using the people to accomplish the thing that you want just so it can benefit you. And just so it can benefit you so that you can benefit from it. And as long as you benefit from it and you get what you want, you in turn won't advocate for those very same people that you benefited from. You won't highlight the things that they did. You won't fight for them for promotions, or you won't even lift them up or speak highly of them in those places where you could, all because it's not benefiting you. And you don't see how much they help you get to where you at.
You know, the most loving thing you can do is actually being self-centered. And when I say that, I mean centered in yourself. You see, what a lot of people think is that we have to constantly be focusing on other people to make them feel good about themselves. It's our job to make people feel good about who they are. It's our job to give love, because that's the only way we get love back. But in reality, true love is unconditional. And those are conditional ways that you've been programmed to go about loving people. When you love yourself first, when you give yourself the attention and the presence that you wish you were getting from other people, and you are centered in yourself, you create a mirror and a reflection for other people to do the same. They can love themselves because you love yourself. And that's the key.
So this girl told me I was self-centered and self-absorbed, right? First of all, if I'm not self-centered, that means I'm not centered. And if you do yoga, you know how important it is to be centered. And second of all, if I'm not self-absorbed, who's going to absorb me if I don't absorb myself first? It just makes no sense. Who am I supposed to center and absorb? You, the girl I was talking to? You, the viewer? You, the grand scheme of society? Like, don't make me go on another one of my anti-empathy rants, but like, you know I could if I wanted to. Because for real, think about it. Like, if I'm dating you, I'm supposed to care about you, like, how much exactly? Because it gets to the point where it's like, no matter how much cake you got, no matter how sloppy the toppy is, no matter how sweet of a person you are, I'm going to come into play and I'm going to matter more. Like, if you win something and I see you hoisting the trophy on top of your head and I'm taller than you, I'm going to grab that trophy away. You know why? Because I just came into the picture. I want to see you win unless I'm also in the competition. This is why you need more competitive dates to assert your dominance, i.e. bowling, i.e. swimming when you know they don't know how to, or chess. More people need to play chess. Like, I played chess with this one young lady and I mated her in 20 moves. That's when she knew she wasn't safe. She looked at me and she was like, oh no, this guy's for real. This is serious business. This is not a game. That's why I don't like dating people who laugh. But my point is, if I wasn't so self-absorbed and self-centered, I would have lost that chess game, because I would have been like, oh, she's so pretty, I kind of wanted to win. You are not entering relationships for them. You're entering relationships for you. So why are you like so focused on what you need to do for the other person? Like, I don't.
This is absolutely true. When someone is secretly in competition with you, or they have some other issue with you, there will be a lot of nonverbal cues that let you know. Here are 3 of those signs. Number 1 is you always catch them looking at you. The way I like to think of it is keeping your eye on the competition. No matter where you are in the room, you'll always catch them sort of keeping an eye on you to see how you're doing. Now, just to be clear, not everyone that's looking at you is in competition with you, but you'll know the vibes when you feel it, and you have to trust yourself. When you catch them watching you and you're like, yeah, that's something else, you're probably right. Number 2, micro expressions. My favorite is when you walk in the room and they either look like they're upset or they look like they're happy to see you. And the thing about micro expressions is they only last a couple seconds. You'll see that initial reaction and then they put the mask back on. When they first lay eyes on you, do they look happy or do they look annoyed? Number 3 is they roll their eyes or they hit the when they see you being praised. This is the one that I always catch people doing to me. But here's what's important for you to know. There's a reason why they are rolling their eyes when you succeed. And it's because you're the one that is succeeding. I say this all the time, but if there wasn't something special about you, then they wouldn't be trying to compete with you.
Ladies, if he starts being mean to you, and he's always irritated by you, trust me, there's somebody else in the picture.
Ladies, if you're dealing with a man who the majority of the time is self-centered, but then reels you back in with his genuinely enjoyable side, then you're not dating a man. You are literally being held emotionally hostage by a selfish kid that has mood swings. There's a big difference, so don't lower your standards just because it feels good. So respect yourself enough to walk away. Trust me.
I'd like to share with you an excerpt from a conversation that I had with a young man who's about to get engaged and to his long-term girlfriend of 7 years. And it is my hope that what I give to you is a blessing to you the way it was a help to him and has been a help to me in the past. He said to me, Dr. Zeb, I'm getting ready to get engaged. This is what I want to do. What is the number one red flag I should have been looking for to just make sure I did not miss anything? Now, let me say this. Before I give you the flag, this message is for only two types of people. It's for whole people, and it's for people who are striving to become whole. That's very important. Because if you're not whole and you don't want to be whole, then a lot of what I'm about to say is probably not going to make a lot of sense to you. I said to him, the number one red flag you should look for is whether or not she is lazy. He said, huh? I said, yes. Is she lazy? He said, no, sir. I said, give me an example of a time she had to do something for the relationship and for you that she did not want to do. He gave me a great example. I won't go into the detail of the example. And I said to him after the example, sounds like you've got a great one. And I feel good about it. Let me say this to you about laziness. If people have not put in the work on themselves, why would you waste time with them? Again, I'm talking to whole people, and I'm talking to people who are working to become whole. Why would you waste time with people who have not put in the same work on themselves as you have put on yourself? See, we looked at, if you looked at the last video that I did about making the list of 10 to 15 things and then becoming those things, it's something that I've taught for some time now, but it's something that I learned in therapy as well. And just really a lot of self-work, because I discovered that in order to be or receive the best version of others from others, I have to show up as the best version of myself. And so while you think, 10 to 15 is a lot, my list has 45 things on it. I wish I had that journal with me in this bag. It has 45 items on it. And that should suggest to all of us that there are levels to wholeness. There are levels to effort. There are levels to not being lazy. And so it is the effort that makes you attractive. It is not showing up perfect. It is not always doing the right things. It is not even changing or evolving. People tend to change over the span of a relationship or connection. But it is your willingness to make an effort that really makes you attractive. And I really want to break this down really quickly because, you should not date people who are not putting in the same amount of work on themselves as you are putting in on yourself. And I'm not talking about just physical work in terms of appearance and how we show up on social media. I'm talking about the inner work that makes you show up as whole and as complete of a person as possible. Fellas, listen to me. I'm going to start with you, as I always do. It doesn't matter how much money you make. It doesn't matter how tight your career is. It doesn't matter how many cars, clothes you have. It doesn't matter where you live. It doesn't matter any of those things. Most women might be pleased with what you have. They'll never be fully satisfied with it. I'm talking about financial things, surface things. What pleases a whole woman is seeing you being willing to put in the work on yourself. The reality of the matter is most of my clients are females, not because I pander. I'm good. As a whole man, I see beautiful women all the time. Most of my clients are females because most men don't want to do the work. We want to be in charge. We want to be first. We want the biggest piece of chicken, but we don't want to do the work. And what makes that problematic is you may show up with a great career or very successful in terms of your money or businesses or whatever you do. But over time, that relationship's going to hit a wall where you're going to have to make an adjustment in order for the relationship to continue. She's going to have to make an adjustment in order for the relationship to continue. That adjustment might mean things you have to do together. That adjustment might mean going to therapy and getting some counseling or help. But if you are not willing to do the work, eventually she's going to even get tired of your resources, and she may even stay. She may stay for you. She may stay for the resources. She may stay for the kids. But if you're not willing to do the work, it's not going to be enough to sustain her and keep her spiritually and emotionally. Ladies, you're no exception. Ladies, understand that a whole man loves to look at a beautiful woman. Nothing wrong with that at all. A whole man loves an attractive lady. But a whole man also understands that what most fulfills him is a woman who is willing to also put in the work on herself. See, a whole man needs more than your body because he can get that anywhere. I said it earlier in the video. I'll say it again. There are levels to wholeness. You know, as a man, I've never asked a woman to do something for me that I was not willing to first do for myself. So if I want you to make a list of 10 to 15 things and become those things, then my list has 45 on it. Because a man who leads has a higher level of expectations first for himself and then for everybody connected to him. Ladies, hear me. You've got to show up more than just looking physically beautiful. You have to also be willing to do the work. I can't tell you the number of women I've talked to as well, and whole men that I've worked with who get incredibly frustrated with women who feel like their looks are enough, who feel like their beauty is enough, who feel like how they show up in the presence of someone is enough. And that stuff might be enough to attract. It might be enough to reel in. But for a whole man, it won't be enough to maintain. How you look won't be as important as what you've last read. How you look won't be as important as how well you treat your children if you have children. So you've got to make sure, ladies, also that you show up not lazy, but willing to do the work so that when the relationship or the marriage requires you to do the work, you don't just let yourself go. I hear that really quickly a lot. Women, really get upset and say, well, my husband, my boyfriend's complaining because I'm gaining weight. I had children and I can't be in the shape that I was 15 years ago. My metabolism is slowing down and I can't do it. But listen, a whole man really won't care about that. A whole man, yes, wants you to look nice and does not want you to throw yourself away. But a whole man will be attracted to your effort, because if you are making the effort to maintain yourself, it speaks to a larger level of work ethic that's critical for a relationship to last over time. No, the 20-year-old shaped you may not be the 60-year-old shaped you. But if your mentality is such of, well, I'm going to put in the effort on myself to maintain myself to the best of my ability, a whole man will see that and he will be incredibly attracted to your effort. The number one red flag you should look for in dating, or if you're in a marriage, is laziness. I hope this made sense. If it did, do me a favor. I want you to type church in the comments with 3 R's. And then remember, you've got 2 jobs. 1, be better today than what you were yesterday. And 2, don't forget what I told you.